I thought we were at an assembly for attendance. So that's what we were here for. I had no idea that it was for Milken. Oh my gosh, I was like, well, of course, there's like 70 individuals in this building that deserve this award. Like, it's about, like, way to go. I was waiting to clap for whoever got called. I think I went a little numb. I didn't believe it. And then I was like, I have to get up in front of this whole crowd. Like, oh no. It was very surreal. I didn't expect it to be me in the least. And it's still surreal. I don't feel like it's real. And like I said, there's so many people that I work with that are deserving of this award. And so my success is because they are there to help me as a team member, and I couldn't do my job without all of the people that I work with. So it's very much a team effort and a team award. I was born with cerebral palsy, and so I've dealt with living in a world that wasn't built for me every day of my life. And so and my parents were educators, and so it was just natural that I gravitated towards kids, and I knew that, you know, what better way to serve kids than to, you know, work with kids with special needs, because I could be a role model or an example of what it's like to keep persevering. And I think it gives me a unique understanding on how to, you know, provide services for them, like, and that even if it doesn't work, you know, the first 10 times, like, that's not a reason to give up. Let's keep trying. Let's try a different avenue, because we all can learn and achieve our goals. It just may take the unique practice of finding out how to make that work. And so I think uniquely I have that perspective because I've had to do that my whole life. And so it just makes sense that I then take that knowledge and apply it to my practice as a teacher. And I hope that that's made a difference for them. I obviously have personal impact in the classroom. I hope that my kids see that even though I have a challenge, it didn't define me, and I was able to, you know, go to school and work really hard and become an educator. And I hope that they know that even though school sometimes can be hard, that they too can find a way to navigate through those challenges and be successful in whatever it is that they want to do. I do recognize that, but on a day-to-day level, I sometimes don't even realize that I'm any different than anyone else in the building. And so I don't know if that's normal, but that's just how I was raised, and that's how I live. And so, but I do hope that parents who I interact with can see that I'm somebody who wasn't born as a typically developing child, and I still made it out okay. And I hope that that gives them, you know, some glimmer of hope, like, hey, you know, just because my child was born with this challenge doesn't mean that they can't live a fulfilling, successful life. So there is that too. I do hope that I provide that hope of glimmer for their parents, because it is challenging and hard, and I just want them to know that that doesn't have to define their outcome in life, that they can go on to achieve whatever it is they want, and the sky's the limit. I don't wake up every day and go to work every day and realize that I have CP. It's not something that I think about. Obviously, like, there are physical challenges, like when I trip on air, I have to get up in front of a crowd, because then I'm just nervous. But I was raised to not let it define who I was. So I was raised to be Lisa first, a daughter, a sister, an aunt. And so I have always lived my life that way. So I don't necessarily think of my CP as an everyday thing in my practice. Now, obviously, there are some things like that I have to overcome. Like, I'm not going to run after a kid who goes running, but I have a walkie-talkie. So if I have a kid that goes, someone's running, go, and then I have other staff members who will go grab that kid, because I'm not going to get to them. So there's that piece of it. But I don't live my life defined by what I have. So when I show up to work every day, I'm just Lisa the teacher, and this is what we're going to do today, and this is how we're going to get it done. So I think it's important to recognize teachers' hard work in front of students, because they only see, you know, when they come in the building and they sit down and they start there, they don't see the preparation and the hard work that goes in behind the scenes. And I think, you know, to be able to recognize teachers and staff in that way shows them, like, wow, these people that show up for me every day work really hard, and they're well deserving of the credit that they get, and man, maybe someday I want to be recognized like this, and I want to put in the hard work and be a teacher myself. So I think it also kind of opens lights, like, hey, like, this teaching thing is kind of cool. Like, maybe I should, you know, go through school and, you know, go through a teacher education program. So I think it's great for them to see educators get awarded for their hard work, and I think it motivates them in the classroom as well. I hope it will. Like, hey, my teacher works hard and she got recognized, and I want to work hard as well. It was a team effort between some other special education teachers and myself and our principal, and she really kind of has, been a godsend with this whole new inclusion model because she's been supportive, like, hey, what do we need, what do we need? But we knew there was a shortage of special education teachers in our building, but we knew we had these kids that needed to be served, and I was like, well, let's figure out a way to serve them with what we have. And so what we did was, instead of having students in a self-contained classroom all day, we pushed them out like a typical developing child and then gave them the supports and the interventions they needed through special education. So they go about their day like any child, whether you're in gen ed or special ed, does, and they go with a paraprofessional, and they are in groups and whole group, and they're participating, and then they come to me for their interventions and their supports, and then they go to lunch and recess and specials like any other child, and my paras go and support as needed, and then they come in and get their interventions just like any typical resource student with a learning disability would get. That's how we're trying to teach our kids an alternate curriculum. We want to have them be in a general ed classroom as much as they can so that they're learning from their peers and their peers are learning from them, and just the exposure to the language alone has been amazing because they're surrounded by language all day long instead of just through their teachers. So it's been amazing to see. Our gen ed teachers have stepped up to the plate. Our general education paras have been so helpful. I could not do my job without my paras. It's just been a complete, total team effort. Like I said, my principal, whatever support she can provide, she's there. It's just been wonderful to see because I'll have my kids work on something in my room, and then I'm like, okay, go down to Miss Perkins' room in second grade and show him your work. And he went in and he opened up his book, and every kid stood and they're like, yay, it was just the most beautiful thing. I wish I would have gotten it on camera because I'm like, this is how it should be. We're all human beings. We all deserve to be surrounded by each other, learning from each other, and we should all be praising and building up everybody's successes. So it's worked really well. I mean, obviously we're still working at our kinks, but it's been a great way to have all of our students learn from one another and kind of open their ideas to what successes look like for every child. Not everything is the same, but that doesn't mean that everybody can't succeed and excel in their own way. And so it's just been really, really beautiful to see. So I'm very lucky to work with a staff that has kind of opened our doors to it and are receptive and want to work with kids. And so we're very fortunate.